Pete Posner here at Big Break English, and today I'm going to take you through over 60 words on the topic of education, including definitions and examples. Okay, so let's start with educational institutions and specifically types of schools. Okay, so state schools are public schools. These are financed by the government. The opposite to state schools are private schools, or you can also call them independent schools or fee-paying schools. So these are not free like state schools, but parents have to pay for the education of their children. Boarding schools are schools where the children actually live at the school during term time. And the opposite of boarding schools are day schools, where the children only attend the school during the day and then go home in the evening, so they don't stay at the school. Selective schools are schools where children have to take an entry exam and they are only accepted at the school if they meet the entry requirements that are based on grades. The opposite of selective schools are comprehensive schools. So these schools accept children of all academic levels. The children don't have to take an entry exam. Now, single-sex schools or same-sex schools, you can also call them, are schools that are only for boys or only for girls. So we can also say all boys schools and all girls schools. Okay. And the opposite to those types of schools are mixed schools. You can also call them co-ed schools. Okay, like in the picture where you can see a boy and a girl. That's probably a physical education lesson. Okay, now let's look at educational stages. Okay, so first you go to nursery school between the ages of about 2 and 5. You can also call this kindergarten or preschool. Then, between the ages of 5 and 11, we have primary school. Then, in some parts of the UK, we have middle school between the ages of 9 and 14. And after middle school, or if students may just go from primary school straight to secondary school, and that's between the ages of 11 and 18. And then now further education is below the level of higher education, and it's um, anything that you can study that is more specialized after from the age of 16, where you can get some specialized knowledge or skills. For example, we have art college or naval college or teacher training college. And so higher than further education is higher education. That's a higher academic level, and that's where people study at university. Okay, some more vocabulary on university. First, going to uni. We say uni as short for university. To major in or to do a degree in something, right? That's the subject that you take at university or the main subject. Okay, so for example, I did a degree in modern languages. That was my main subject. I majored in modern languages. Okay, and university admissions, that is the process that a student has to go through to be accepted at university. Okay, so universities admit students. Okay, and in order to be admitted, students have to meet the entry requirements. So the entry requirements are usually grades, school grades, and sometimes an interview. Okay, so universities admit students if they meet with their entry requirements. Okay, and then enrollment, that's the administrative process. So once students are admitted, they can enroll at the university. Okay, this means that they officially become members or students at that university. Okay, so enrollment is the noun and enroll is the verb. Okay, graduation is when you complete your first degree at a university. Okay, and the verb is graduate. Okay, so for example, I graduated from university in 2004. That was when I finished my initial studies at university. Okay, now on to university finance. University isn't free in the UK or in the USA or in many countries where you have to pay tuition fees. Okay, so that is money you have to pay for the lessons. Okay, and so higher education is not free in the UK, so students have to pay tuition fees. Okay, in order to pay for the tuition fee, pay the tuition fees, and to support themselves at university, students might take out a loan. This means borrow money from the bank. Okay, and then usually then when they finish their studies, they start to pay off the loan. So pay off a loan means give the money back. Okay, so a lot of students take out a loan to support themselves at university and then start to pay it off when they graduate and get a job. Okay, another way to support yourself at university is some students win scholarships. So win a scholarship means win some money due to high academic achievement. So students with high academic achievement may win a scholarship to support their studies. Okay, now let's look at some types of university courses. So the first degree course that you take is an undergraduate degree. Okay, in the UK, that's usually 3 years or sometimes 4 years. And these degrees could be vocational courses. So a vocational course is more focused on gaining skills for a specific job, right? And for example, there is sports management or computer games design. Those are vocational courses. A non-vocational course is an academic course and is not usually specialized. It's not focused on any one job. Okay, so for example, English literature is a non-vocational course. It's not preparing you for any one specific job. When you've finished your undergraduate degree, then you may get a job, or you might go on at some time to do a postgraduate degree. Okay, so that's a level up from undergraduate. And postgraduate degrees include masters. So a master's is in the UK, it's usually 1 year. In some countries, it could be maybe 2 years. And so it's a higher level than an undergraduate degree. And then one more level up from a master's is a PhD, okay, or a doctorate, right? So this is to become a doctor in a specific subject, and this involves a lot of research. Finally, these days there are a lot of online courses, or we also call this distance learning. So this is where you don't have to go to the university to take classes, but the lessons are online on the internet. So you can take these lessons at home, in a cafe, anywhere you want. Let's move on to learning now, and first specifically skills and strategies. Okay, so the first word is a phrasal verb, take in. Okay, so take in means to process, to absorb, to understand what you're being taught. Okay, so for example, students with good listening skills are more likely to take in the content during lectures, more likely to understand, absorb, process the content. Another phrasal verb here is pick up. Now, pick something up means you pick a skill up, not by learning formally or the theory behind something, but actually by doing it, by practicing. Okay, so for example, you can pick up a language by living with native speakers without taking formal lessons where you learn the grammar. Another word here is time management. Okay, um, and the verb is manage. So you manage your time. That means you organize your time. You organize how long you're going to spend studying certain things. Okay, and that's important at university so that you keep up, right? So this keep up means it means keep up, for example, with the workload. So it means that you don't get left behind. You don't fall behind, right? You go at the same pace as the other students and the workload that is being set by the teacher. Okay, so for example, at uni, students need to manage their time effectively to keep up with the workload rather than falling behind. Okay, now brush up on means that you go back and do some more practice on a skill that you haven't done for a while so that you can quickly improve it. Okay, and note taking is a strategy where, for example, if you're in a lecture listening to a professor, you take notes, that's the verb, on the important information. So you write down in a notebook, for example, keywords or phrases to get the essential of what he or she is saying. Okay. So, for example, students can usually take a study skills course in their first year to brush up on skills such as note taking. Read widely means read a variety of books from a variety of sources, okay? And read around the subject means that you read from different sources so that you get different perspectives on a subject and you read extensively. Okay, let's look at lessons and work now. So, lectures are types of lessons at university. This is a lecture hall. Okay, so the lecturer is a teacher who stands at the front and he gives a lecture to a large group of students, and the students take notes. In contrast to lectures, seminars are smaller groups of students and it's more interactive. So there is more interaction between the teacher and the students and between the students. And in both lectures and seminars, the lecturer will give a presentation, okay? And in seminars, students will also give presentations. So a presentation is where a teacher or a student presents, that's the verb, on a topic, okay, to a group of students. A dissertation is an extended piece of work. It's an important piece of work in order to graduate from university. Okay, and a thesis is similar, but a thesis is longer, and a thesis in the UK is usually is related to a postgraduate degree. Project work is a piece of work done over a period of time on a subject, and it could involve field work. Field work is practical work, such as questionnaires, interviews, okay? And research is usually, it's like project work, but it's usually related to postgraduate study, especially a PhD, where a student does very detailed research on a subject, and that requires a hypothesis, which is then tested. And finally, I just missed one. An assignment is a piece of work. Usually, students have a series of assignments during their studies, and this could be, for example, this is quite general. It could be, for example, a reading assignment or a written assignment. It's a piece of work. And some verbs now. So with an assignment, we can set an assignment. Okay, so for example, a teacher sets an assignment, right? And also a teacher can set a deadline. Okay, so a deadline is, so sorry, first set an assignment just means to give students an assignment to do. To set a deadline means to establish a date where students have to finish and hand in the assignment. Okay, so for example, the deadline might be the 10th of August. That's the last date that students can hand in the assignment. Hand in an assignment means give the assignment to the teacher. Okay. Also, we talk about meeting a deadline. So students meet a deadline. So the deadline is the 10th of August. So if they hand in the work on the 10th or before the 10th, it means that they meet the deadline. Okay, that means the same thing is to hand in an assignment on time so that it's not late. Now, if students are having problems finishing on time, they can ask for an extension. So that means that they ask the teacher if they can have more time so that the deadline can be extended from, for example, the 10th of August to the 17th of August, an extra week, for example. Okay. And the teacher has to agree to this. So if the teacher grants an extension, the teacher agrees that the original deadline will be postponed to a later date. So, for example, John wasn't able to meet the deadline, so he asked for an extension, and fortunately, it was granted. Let's look at exams now. So, to revise for an exam, revise is the verb. That means to go back and study content that the teacher has already taught you in preparation for the exam, okay? And the noun is revision, so exam revision. To pass an exam means to be successful in the exam, and to fail an exam is to be unsuccessful. Okay, if you fail an exam, sometimes you can resit the exam. Okay, the noun is a resit. Okay, so for example, that means that you take the exam again, right? So for example, John didn't revise enough and failed his exam, but he revised a lot for the resit and passed it. Okay, students, so this vocabulary is going to help you with your IELTS speaking and writing. And if you need extra help with writing, you can get my free IELTS ebook, 12 Tips for Scoring Higher on IELTS Writing Task 2. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description, down in the description of this video. Okay guys, so this was IELTS Band 7 plus vocabulary on education. Next lesson, I'm going to do a video on vocabulary on the environment for IELTS. Okay, so look out for that one. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to share it and like it and subscribe to the channel so you get more of these types of videos. And also, why don't you watch another video while you're here? Okay, so I'll see you next time. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.